everyone so that we will not have any issues. Right. Good morning, everyone. And in the last session, what we have seen how exactly to convert the MIPS assembly language instruction to binary, as well as we understood the complete sequence and the steps here. I hope you all understood it, and there is no confusion in that right now. And remember, one thing that is very important is to understand that we've got two set of register notations. One is S0, S1, S2, S6, S7 up to S7, S8 we have that S0 to S7 we have, and T0 to T7 we have, and T should be used for all the temporary operations, whereas S should be used for all the final result storage. And if you feel that that's the final step where you want to store the results into it, we can use it for that final storage operations, and I have conveyed this clearly. And we are now getting into the I-type instructions. So please, yeah, right. It's time for us to learn I-type instructions. What is it? Very simple, immediate type instruction. What do you mean by immediate type? Whenever the data becomes part of the instruction itself, we call it immediate instruction. That's it, right? This is what we have taught you in the previous semester as well, and that remains consistent. We do not have any change over there. Whenever the data becomes part of the instruction itself, we call it I-type instruction. And what are the things over there in the I-type field? I have got opcode, which cannot be changed, which is 6 bits. I have got offset, which cannot be changed 6 bits, and only two fields are there in this register fields. They are called RS and RT. No RD here. Remember, it is RS and RT, no RD. And this is how it is framed, and you need to remember it this way. So you cannot change it. And remember, if you alter RS as RD or RT as RD, that's wrong. It will not be accepted, and you cannot get marks there. So remember, this is the complete structure. This is like Bible for it, and you got to follow it, right? So now we have got opcode, 6-bit operation code will be given here. RS, which is the field for RS, 5 bits are given, which register will be represented. Similarly, RT register will be represented here, and we have got the offset here, which is 0 to 15, which is nothing but 16 bits, right? Sir, what are all the instructions that come under I-type operations, sir? Very simple. For the I-type instructions, we can cite two immediate instructions which are going to be called as the load and store. Remember, the load and store. What is load? The load, as I told you already, loads the data from a memory location into a register. Whenever you fill the content into a register, we call it loading. Whenever we store the content into a memory location, we call it storing. There is a difference because storing is permanent. When you store it in a memory location, that will be permanent. But when you store it in a register, when you load it in a register, if you restart it or if you do a shutdown and then go for a start again, cold boot again or warm boot again, the data will be wiped off. It is 100% volatile. So loading is going into the register, storing is going into the memory location, and it is always permanent. Remember, storing is into memory location and loading is into register. And sir, both of this will come under the I-type instructions because both of this will have offset added to it. Both of this will have some value coming into the picture. So I'm going to explain you that sequence very clearly one after another, and please listen to it carefully. If you cannot understand, I'll do a redo also, I'll repeat it also, and that will be very important for you. So please remember, you can make a note of it if you have a note with you. I recommend you to do that, and we have some exercises to be done also today. We will go through it also at the end of the session. I have got plans for a couple of quick questions which are to be solved during the class time itself, right? Now, the first question that you need to, or the first point that you need to remember is, we have two set of registers. One starts with S and another starts with 0. S1, S0 to S7 is 16 to 23. T0 to T7 is 8 to 15. You should not forget it at any cost. Remember this. This is the ground rule for whatever operations we are going to do. Now, what is the first instruction that we are going to take? We are going to take load word. This is called load word. LW is load word. Now, LW $T0, comma 32 of S1. What is this instruction, sir? How is this working? Very simple. 32 is the immediate value that is referred here. That's why this load word instruction comes under immediate mode of operation. This is an immediate value. We have the value here, right? So we can qualify this as an immediate addressing mode. Now remember, this 32 is just a value which will not have any value, Until and otherwise we club along with this S1. Now what will we do? Very simple. S1 will have some content, it will have some value inside, say it is having 100. Now this 32 will be added with this 100, and 132 is the location that we need to go in. And once we get in into 132, there will be some value available in that 132. Take that 132 location's content and move it on to T0. This T0 is the loading. I load the content from 32 plus 100, which is nothing but 132, which is a memory location. I take the data from there, I push it on to T0, and this is called loading. And understand, this is called RT. This T0 is called RT. This S1 is called RS. You cannot change it. Remember, you cannot change this. This can never happen. So load word T0, 32 of S1, $S1 is nothing but 32 plus 500 or 100 or whatever content inside. I'll add it along with that, and then I'll push the content into the T0 register. This is very, very important point to remember, and we will talk about store word a little later, not now. So remember, load word is all about retrieving content from a memory location and pushing it onto a register. But the memory location cannot be directly accessed. Instead, we have some immediate value here along with some value inside this register. We take both of them together, we add it, we get a final value, and that is nothing but the memory location. Go there, retrieve the value and put it onto T0. That's all. Is it clear, all of you? I need acknowledgement. Right. So the load word is very, very important, and remember, we are going to have n number of problems only with n number of worked out exercises only with load word and store word. So please, if you do not understand, let me know. I can correct it, I can teach it again, and I can tell you the way that we can remember it better also. Now this is RT, this is RS. Now this equation, I mean this instruction has to be converted to binary. How do we do it? This instruction has to be converted to binary. First, let us find what exactly is the structure for this. Opcode, RS, RT, offset. That's it, right? So we are going to take the same thing here. Opcode, RS, RT, offset. And without fail, every time write this. 0 to 15 for offset, 16 to 20 for RT, 21 to 25 for RS, 26 to 31 for opcode. Remember it, you should never ever forget it. You should never ever forget. I'm telling you this should not be forgotten. You need to write this clearly, otherwise you will not be able to fill the values with number of bits appropriately. Let's go to opcode and offset later. We are not going to touch it right now. Let's take what is RS. What is RS here? RS is nothing but S1. What is S1 represented as? S1 is mapped to 17 because 16 is S0, 17 is S1. So what I need to put for RS? It is nothing but RS is nothing but 17. So you can see that here it is 17. 16, 8, 4, 2, 1. 16 plus 1 is 17. Done. Now what is T0? T0 is nothing but it's mapped on to 8. So 0, 1, 0, 0, 0. 16, 8, 4, 2, 1, which is now mapped on to T0. So RS and RT are filled appropriately. Is there any doubt in this? These two columns? Is good. Good. Now what do? We have got something as 32 here, right? This is nothing but your immediate value. This 32 is your immediate value, which is called offset. Just fill it up here. How many bits do you have? You've got 16 bits. But what is the value you have here? 32. This will very well be filled within 6 bits. But we need to prefix it with as many number of zeros possible to complete it as 16-bit length. So what do? 0, 0, 0, 0, 8421. 32, 16 is done here. This itself is enough. 32, 16, 8, 4, 2, 1. This 32, if I put 1, my problem is solved out, and that's all, it's done. But I cannot leave it like that. So how many number of zeros I need to append? I have got 6 digits here. I need to append 10 zeros. And you can see the way I have done it. I have split it properly as 8421, 8421, 8421, 8421. As 4 bits each I have split so that you can enter it appropriately. Otherwise, you will make mistakes. So please follow the same pattern in the paper also or in the interview also, wherever you go. Now this is clear. The offset is nothing but the value that you get in the question itself. You are getting it in the question itself, and that's exactly the same thing that you need to fill it up here. That's it. Now, what is opcode, sir? Opcode is nothing but the operation which is being specified to the microcontroller to be done. Here there is no variation in, or there is no variance available with LW. Just like what we had in R type instructions, we had addition and subtraction there. That's why we had function code. We do not have any function code here because load word is the only operation that is available with this opcode. So the opcode for load word is 35. The opcode for load word is 35. Now when you convert it to binary, you convert it as 32, 16, 8, 4, 2, 1. Now 35 is 32 plus 2 plus 1. So that's it. We have framed it. Is there any doubt till now? Is there any doubt? Is it clear? I have converted the clear, easily available load word instruction into equivalent binary, and each step is explained properly. The structure is opcode followed by RS, followed by RT, followed by offset. The question will give you RT and RS, but in the pattern you need to write RS and RT. This is always a swapping here which you need to remember. This is RT, this is RS. You cannot change it, and remember it, this will come only through practice. Only when you practice it you get it clear, otherwise it's going to be a failure. So please make sure you guys write it out a couple of times and then practice it in the paper, otherwise it is going to be a serious problem. Now is there any doubt till now? I wanted to be clarified before I go on further. Any doubts? Any doubts, friends? Can I move ahead with the rest of the components? All of you could understand, right? Can I take this as acknowledgement from everybody? Because this is a very important thing and I made it very slow, and I'm going to the next topic right now. So please focus and concentrate. This is very, very important. Let's go to the next one. Now, we need to understand why do we need load and store. First question, sir, why do we need it, sir? This is yet again a complex instruction. Why do we need to know a lot of instructions, sir? That's a very valid question, and in fact, this is a very right question. Whenever you go with C or C programming or C++ or Java or any such kind of programming, you may have to handle with lot of arrays of elements, a lot of series of elements like data structures, but you do not have any constraint of using memory there. You do not have any problem with the available memory there. It's all abundant of memory which is available, and you can store it just like that. As I told you already, we normally declare some variables right in the top and we forget it. Int A, B, C, D, E up to Z we will define, and that's all. We do not use it any further also. Because we do not have any memory constraints or restrictions, we are fine there. But when you come to MIPS, we have got a serious constraint with respect to the number of registers which are available. So whenever I have to operate, I can operate only through registers because that is the way the RISC architecture is designed. That is the way the load and store is designed, and you cannot afford to miss it. You are going to use the load and store continuously. You are going to load the content into the register, and only then you will process it, and you have no escape. You can do only this. Now the point is very simple. Whenever I do arithmetic operations, I can do it only with registers. Whenever I want to do it with registers, I need to move the content from the memory into the registers. So for me to move the content from the memory into the registers, I have no other option other than to use the data transfer instructions. What are all the data transfer instructions? The most important and frequently used data transfer instructions are load word and store word. Load word will help you to fetch the instruction from the memory into the register, and vice versa will be done for store word. That's it. This is the reason we need load and store. There could be a question, explain why do we need load and store. RISC architecture or MIPS does not permit you to access the memory locations directly for doing computation. You need to load the content into the registers, and only then you can access it. And when you do that way, you need instructions to do it. So what are all the instructions supported? We have got only two instructions here, and load word and store word are the load word will find out which is the memory location where you need to go and how do you need to pull the data out of it, and it will push it onto the register. Similarly, store word, after the computation is done, it will store the content from the memory from the register to the memory location. It's very simple and easy. I hope we clarified the reason for using the load and store instructions. This is an important question. Now, why do we need I-type instructions, sir? I-type instructions is they are just not load and store. We have more type of instructions for, more instructions available in I-type. What are all these, sir, and why do we really need it, sir? This is a very important question. For an instance, I'm going to add some value to some register. I've got a register say T0, and in the T0 I've got some value say 5, and I need to add 1 to it. If I-type instructions are not available, remember, if I-type instructions are not available, how do you work on that situation is very pathetic. You need to first load the content into a particular register from a memory location. I need to load the content into a register into a memory from a memory location. For an instance, I'm going to show it here. Let me use pointer. I have got some value say 5. I need to add 1 to it. Assuming that we do not have any instruction for immediate operations, I will first have to load this into the memory into the register say R1 for an instance from some memory location say 100. So I will do a load word operation. Once it is done, I'll have to then add 5 with 1. That's it. This is how I do it. And this is complex. This part is not required at all. So when there is an option for having add immediate instruction, I have got add immediate instruction. You can see that here I can simply specify the content in the S4 must be added with 5. The content in S4 must be added with 5 and the result has to be sent back to S4 itself. That's it. It's very simple. So this is the reason we need immediate instructions. Immediate instructions are very helpful because they avoid us from loading the content into the register as one additional step, which will take some clock time, which will take some processor power, and it is totally avoided in this case. So there can be a question, why do we need immediate type instructions or I-type instructions? I-type instructions are required just because it helps us out in doing the processing straight. That's the answer. We are going to see a very important question in terms of exam, in terms of interview as well. I request you to listen to the question, only then you can understand what the question is. The question reading itself is an art when it comes to COA. So please pay attention and listen to it. Then we'll go deeper into answering it. I'll explain you how exactly to answer it. And this is all very easy, but yet again I'm telling you, pay attention. We are going to assume that A is an array. I have got an array which is called A. It has got 100 words in it. First point to be noted, I have got an array called A. It has got 100 words in it. So let's not worry about it. We need to just understand that A is an array. It starts with A of 0 and it will go on and it has got some content into it. So I repeat, it starts with A of 0 and it goes on. It has some content into it. Now, please remember, the compiler has associated variables G and H. I have got two other variables called as G and H, which are directly connected to S1 and S2. Remember, I have got an array, just three things are conveyed here. I have got an array A, it has got 100 words, it starts with A of 0. This is fundamental. I have got two variables, one variable is called G, another variable is called H, and G is directly conveyed as $S1, H is directly connected or conveyed as $S2, and that's it. Now let's understand and assume that the starting address or the base address of the array is in S3. What is the array here? Array is A. It must have a starting address. This is what I specified. The starting address is available in S3. Now, what are all the three things that we know? We have got an array called A. Array starting address is available in S3. I have got two variables called G and H, and both of them are available in S1 and S2. And most importantly, I have got a C programming statement, C assignment statement here called as G equal to H plus A of 8. Is the question clear? I need to convert this G equal to H plus A of 8 to MIPS equivalent instructions. That's the task. What I have in hand is an array. The array has got some 100 words inside it. The starting address is available in some register. I use two variables, one is G and another one is H, and the G is connected to S1 and H is connected to S2. That's all. Is the question clear, all of you? Kindly acknowledge, kids. Question is clear, right? Right. We'll go with the answer then. Please see to it carefully. This might seem like a little troublesome for the first attempt, but it's actually easy. There is nothing difficult in that. So we are going to go through the step-by-step process. Now, what is the first step? The first step is nothing but we need to take a temporary variable. We need to take a temporary register, and the temporary register is nothing but T0. I am going to take some temporary register T0 here, which is nothing but A of 8 is going to be loaded into it. Why is A of 8 important here, sir? See in the question what is given, A of 8. G equal to H plus A of 8. So my first step is to make sure that I have the temporary register T0 where I am going to have A of 8 inside. Just keep it that way. Now the instruction must add H. Where is H available? The question is, you can see that H plus A of 8, and you can see that here H is always assigned to S2. The H is assigned to S2. So now what do? We need to add the T0, which is nothing but A of 8 with S2. This is the first step. Is it clear? I am just adding, let me erase all the ink on the slide. Now what is the first step? The first step is to get, I did not tell you how to get the content, wait for that. First step is to get A of 8 into T0. The second step is to get this content, which is nothing but is already available and given in the question, which is here H. So this is H. So I have to add these two, and where do we put the result? I can store the result into S1 because in the question itself they have conveyed clearly that the S1 is the one which is corresponding to G. Is it clear till now? I have interpreted the question very clearly right now, and what I have conveyed is the given statement is conveyed as a simple add statement here, and that's presented here. That's all. So the T0 is A of 8. The S2 is nothing but H. I added them together and I put the result into S1. But till now we have not conveyed how do we get into this A of 8 part. I have not computed that at all. So what do? I need to go to that location. I need to take the content from that A of 8 location. I need to then load it onto T0 and I need to proceed. I have not updated this T0 value till now with the location A of 8 content. This is the content in the array. I move from array. This is the array. For an instance, A of 8 is here. I need to take the content from this A of 8 and I need to put it here. As of now, I assumed that the T0 has got the content from A of 8. So what do? We need to load. I am telling that term again. I am stressing it again. We need to load the content into T0. We need to load the content from the memory location, which is nothing but the array, and it has to be pulled out and it is to be loaded into T0. Is it clear? I am going to load from where, sir? From a memory location. Now how do we do it, sir? Very simple. Any array has got a starting address which is called as the base address. They clearly conveyed us that the base address is nothing but S3. The base address is available in S3. $S3 is nothing but the register where they have got the base address. Now it is A of 8. I have got 8 here. I told you right in the first class, it is all 4 here. Everything is to be divided by 4. Each block is 4. So 8 into 4 is nothing but 32. So 32 of S3. 32 of $S3 is nothing but, I get the correct location there. That is nothing but A of 8. And I'll move the content now with a load word operation into LW. I'll repeat this point. Please listen. If you're not listening, this won't be clear. So what I do now is, I have completed the equation here. This is the final equation. This is what will get me the result. But I have not computed or I have not moved the value into T0 appropriately. So for that to be done, I need to do this instruction. Why I need to do this is the load operation which can load the content onto the T0. So S3 has got the base address that is specified clearly in the question. You can see that here. Let me clear the slide also. You can see that here the S3 has got the base address. So one content is here with us clearly. And what is the next? It is A of 8. You cannot put it just as 8 here. It is wrong in the book. So what is it? It is 8 into 4. That's why I updated it here. And it is called 32 right now. And 32 of S3, you will combine the S3's content and 32, which means if the starting address is, if the base address is just 0, you need to add 0 plus 32. It will go to the 32nd location. It will take the data from there. It will push it on to T0. So your first line of the code should be load word T0 32 of S3, and your second line of the code should be add S1, S2 and T0. Is it clear? This is a problem. This question will be given just like this to you. This will be the question for you. You will have to get the answer like what I have explained you clearly. Is it clear? Any doubt? Should I explain again? Kids, please respond. Is it clear? I need response, kids. All of you, all of you, all of you. Sure? Right. I request all of you to read it through once, because it is not as easy as you think, but it is definitely it can be worked out. Once you get used to it, you can work out the same. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to black out the screen after I explain you the question. You have to try it out. I will give you 5 minutes time, and you will have to tell me the answer for this question. So what we do here is, I have a variable h which is associated with register S2. I have a variable h which is associated with register S2, and the base address of the array is available in S3. I have got h which is nothing but S2. I have got the base address of the array which is available in S3. So S3 is connected to it. Now I want the equivalent instruction for a of 12 equal to h plus a of 8. A of 12 equal to h plus a of 8. I want the equivalent MIPS instructions for this. Now the first two steps are very simple. So the loading part is simple. How do we do that? And then the adding part is, this part is very simple, but this one is pretty new for you, because we are storing the content into the memory location. Do you understand the difference? I am storing the content into the memory location, and in the last time what we did, we loaded the content into a register, and this time we are storing it into a memory location. So what is the difference here? We need to add one new instruction in our learning kit, that is nothing but load word and store word getting added to it. We need to add store word. So how do we convert this first? Can you guys try it out? H plus a of 8. So what is it first? So I need to have a temporary register as usual T0, which is containing the content of this. We assume that way, and H has to be added to it. So the first step is to add T0 comma S2 comma T0, because S2 is the one that is connected to the H, but T0 is not loaded appropriately. So I need to go with load word command, and it is a of 8. So T0 comma 32 is nothing but 8 into 4, with S3 having the base address. This step is clear. This is what is done in the previous question. Is it clear? This is the same step that we did in the previous question, but the question is different. That's it. Now what do? We need to store this result into, we need to store this result. I stress the term result once again. We need to store this result into a register called, into a location called A12, A of 12, which is nothing but an array. Now how do we do it, sir? Very simple. We have got a new instruction which is also I-type instruction, and it's very easy to use. How do we use it? SW is store word. From where you are going to store? I have got the results available in T0. From T0, where are you going to store? A of 12. A of 12 cannot be directly told. So what do we do? A of 12 is 12 into 4. 12 into 4, which is nothing but 48. So 48, where is the base address? The base address is in S3. That's all. Is it clear? So I have used load word, I have used store word for the same set of operations. In the previous set of operations, whatever we have discussed, we had only the load word being taught. This is the one that we discussed, and that was sufficient. And now we have store word coming into picture, because we have to store the content into the memory location. The memory location need not be say 1000 or 1500 or something. It has to be something like array also. Once again, here you go with the recap of whatever we have learned till now. So we have learned R type and I type instructions. In the R type, there is an instruction called add. We learned it, and we have also got an instruction called sub. We have not discussed it, but it is the same. When you go with add, the opcode is 0. RS, RT, RD, all are registers. Shift amount is not required and it is not applicable. Function code is 32 for add. When you go with subtract, you get opcode as 0. Rest all remain the same, and the function code is 34 again. It is 32 here, it is 34 here. That's the major difference that you guys have to remember. And the system will recognize, I mean the processor will recognize that this is this instruction or this is subtraction instruction based on the function code when it comes to add or sub. Remember it, and it's a very important point. When it comes to immediate type instructions, we have discussed only 3 instructions very clearly. One was add immediate, the second one was load word, The third one was store word. The first one was add immediate, where the opcode was 8. Register will be there. There is no RD. Load word, we have got opcode as 35. Store word, the opcode is 43. Remember all this. And we have got only RS and RT for entire immediate type operation. To answer the question of somebody who asked me some time back, RD is not at all used, but why do we need that there? To get the uniformity, see, even if it is not used, I need to put as not applicable here. So for getting the uniformity in terms of understanding and presentation, they followed this. Now remember, we have completed R type and I type fundamentals. Just the fundamentals. We didn't get into the depth of it. We have completed the fundamentals and we need to go bit more detailed into it, which we are going to go right now. Till now, is there any questions? I want you to speak to me if you have questions. Please let me know if you have questions. Any questions, kids? Yeah. Yeah, I can do that. One second. This is what it is. It is not because of just clock cycle. What's your name, da? I do not know your name. Sai, okay. Okay, Sai. Remember, it is not just because of clock cycle. It is an additional instruction that you are using all the way. I have to load that content into the register T1 here. Without loading the content into register, can you process in RISC? No, you cannot do it, right? So I'll have to load that immediate value. This 5 has to be loaded to the immediate value 5 has to be loaded to T1, and that's an additional step. But once this instruction has come, you can mention this instruction as part of the instruction itself, mention this value as part of the instruction itself, and you can complete it. So this avoids the unnecessary need of one instruction, additional time for execution of that instruction, and obviously clock cycles are connected. Did you understand? Any other questions, kids? Any other questions? Can we go ahead? All good? Right, great. So let me get into one more rule we will complete today, and then we will. I will give you some questions. I have got some assignment questions ready for you, which I have not shared with you. So I'm going to give the questions only today. You need to answer that. We will see how we can evaluate it at a later point of time. Now, this is the same thing that I told you. Make the common case fast. Just now I explained Sai Kishan or somebody, I don't know, I forgot the name, that we need to use immediate instruction as much as possible. Wherever there is a constant value usage is there, wherever, if you use constant value, it is always preferred to use add immediate or load immediate instructions are there. Use the immediate instructions. Do not go with an additional usage of load word, additional usage of one line of instruction is going to be complex. The third design rule, the third MIPS rule is use the common case fast. Make the common case fast. How do you make it faster? I can make it fast only through usage of add immediate. So you can see that here. I can use it only with add immediate, load immediate kind of stuff. Make the immediate usage more. That's what the third rule is all about. And remember, this is a very, very important point that was conveyed by Gordon Moore, who is the co-founder of Intel. By 1965 itself, he predicted it. He said that every year, the number of transistors in the circuit is going to be doubled every year. It is now very true that we can see that the number of transistors inside the processor of A4004 or 8080 is nowhere near whatever we have right now. We have got millions and millions of transistor count increased, and this is to be remembered. This is called Moore's law, and this is a question that can be asked in any interview. What is Moore's law? Moore said that every year, actually he predicted that it's once in 18 months. Now it is every year almost. So every year we get that the number of the number of transistors inside a processor will be more, will be double. So please listen to that, and that point is a very important point. And the final design rule with which I will conclude for the day today is the compromises. We have to accept some compromises in MIPS design. Sir, what are all the compromises, sir? Why you call something as a compromise, sir, when you say that your design is very nice? We have seen all the instructions right now. Almost for the I type and R type, we have seen instructions like add, sub, add immediate, load word, store word, and all the instructions are of the same size, 32 bits. This is compromise. Though we do not require 32 bits, we are using 32 bits. Though we do not require 32-bit instructions everywhere, we make it 32-bit. That is a compromise. So what they have done is to categorize them into three different groups properly to make you understand easily. they categorized it as I, J, and R. R is with all R type, I mean register type instructions. J is for jump, I is for immediate operations, and they had to split it and they had to group it. This is a definite compromise. We are learning multiple instructions. We are learning instructions, all of them are of equal size, but they need not be of equal size. Because to bring the uniformity in the structure, uniformity in the access, uniformity in the hardware, they decided everything to be 32-bit, but it made us use 32 bits unnecessarily where at times we may not really need it. This is a compromise. So the 4 design rules have been clearly conveyed to you, and this problem you will see tomorrow, and I'm going to explain you how exactly this problem can be understood and sorted out. So we have completed the fundamental design rules here in this session, as well as I'm going to give you some very simple assignment for the day which you must do and come back. I do not have a question of will you do, I say it must be done and come back to me after doing it, right? The first question, I'll also post this question in the group if possible. So we need to take a question as see, I'll show you this way. We need to have the expression in the 4 address format, 3 address format, 2 address format, 1 address and 0 address format. What do you mean by that? We have seen all the types of ISA, right? So just use that and try to fill it up. A equal to B plus C. I want you to use it in 4 address, 3 address, 2 address and 1 address. Complete it tomorrow, and this will be pasted also in your chat box so that you can easily try it out whenever you want. I'm going to paste it in your chat box. Let me give it there. I have pasted it in your chat box. I'll also send this as an email. So, or I'll post it in the email after the session is over. So, what you need to do is you need to write the expression A equal to B plus C with all the available ISA formats. I have taught you 4 different ISA formats, right? The stack mode, the accumulator mode, the register mode, all those we have taught, right? You need to work it out and get back to me, right? That's one thing. Now, I'm teaching you something more right now. Please listen to it, or maybe we can do it tomorrow. This one is not required right now. Right. Now the question is very simple. I have given a value here in the screen. You can see that here, this is the value that I have given. I want you to decode this and tell me what instruction is this. I'm pasting it in the chat box. So please make sure that you guys see to it without fail. You have to decode the instruction 010F8020. You need to tell me what is that instruction. This is your 2 assignment questions for the day. Please do it without fail and come back to me once you find the answer. Tomorrow I'll explain you the answer. I've got answers for all these. I'll explain you the answers tomorrow so that we can discuss that as the beginning content, as the first content in the class. I have just copy pasted both of these content, and you can probably look into it and solve it out. I'm pasting it also in your class group. Decode the instruction 010F8020. This is the first question for you. And the second question, whatever I told you, is very simple again. I want you to try out 4 address format, 3 address format, 2 address format, 1 address format for the question that I'm going to paste right now. This is for everybody. I hope everyone has got it. Is there any questions till now? That's it. We have completed the fundamentals.